The deal room has already made waves in Australia by giving experienced investors a direct path into capital raises that were once locked behind closed doors. And now, with its official launch in the UK, we're entering a new chapter of cross border deal flow, connecting companies and investors across Australia, North America, and now the UK. I'm Ricky Lee, and to unpack what's evolving and why it matters, I'm joined by Hot Copper's Director of Capital Markets, Tim Sylvester. Tim, welcome.
Ricky, thank you for having me, and thanks for taking this on.
Thanks for being here. So, Tim, the deal room is going through an exciting evolution, especially with this new expansion to ADVFN UK. So, what's changing and what should investors across Australia, Canada, and the UK be paying attention to right now?
Bit of context. The deal room was launched in Australia about 12 months ago on Hot Copper. And there's been previous iterations of this type of process with Stockhouse in the past. What's changed is we launched the deal room under an Australian financial services license, giving us a lot more ability to actually participate in these transactions in the same capacity that a broker would. What's changed the last couple of months is we recently completed the merger with ADVFN UK, which now brings in Stockhouse, ADVFN, and Hot Copper, as well as Investors Hub in the US under one banner, giving us a significantly greater reach to investors. So what's changed in regards to the UK market is we've just opened this up to UK investors to be able to give them access to transactions coming out of Australia, Canada, and of course, the UK.
Amazing. And you kind of almost just alluded to it a bit there, but for those who haven't used the deal room before, can you break down the mechanics a bit? Like who gets access, what kind of deals are available, and importantly, how is this helping experienced investors access opportunities that haven't always been easy to reach?
The way we've structured the deal room is we can act on behalf of a company, or we can interact with the current broker ecosystem that exists. So in layman's terms, basically, we can help brokers and their corporate clients, or we can help corporate clients specifically raise capital from the secondary market. The capital market is a matching process. So simply finding the right investors for the right transactions, that process gets easier and easier the larger our data set is. And by combining the reach of ADVFN, Hot Copper, and Stockhouse, we're looking at upwards of 30 million investors that visit our websites on an annual basis. So the ability for us to actually match the right investors with the right transactions gets even easier over time and becomes a tool that brokers and other market participants can use to raise the right capital for their clients too.
And Tim, private placements seem to be gaining traction again. So why is now the right time for investors to be looking at this part of the market?
Yeah, you're exactly right. They have been increasing, and we've seen that number of transactions go up quite dramatically, even the last 3 months alone. And we're anticipating that to only get larger in the next 12 months. My advice to investors would be to, if they are interested in investing in these types of transactions, would be to go to the deal room and go through our experienced investor process so they can start to get access and see what transactions are coming through. No obligation to invest in anything to begin with, but at least they can get an idea of what they're going to be able to see over the upcoming 12 months. And then if they see something they like that aligns with their investment strategy at the time, then it's as simple as bidding into the transaction.
And what does the environment look like for public companies that are trying to raise capital?
Well, based on the last 3 months where we've seen a number of successful transactions go through, we think over the next 12 months, the appetite from investors is going to increase. And we're going to see the public companies' ability to raise capital only increase and get more effective over time. And we'd love to obviously have a positive part to play in that by giving them access to a larger pool of investors to draw from.
And so now, Tim, with 3 markets connected through the deal room, how do you see this shaping early stage deal access globally over the next 12 to 18 months?
This was all done by design. The merger with ADVFN was obviously to create a global reach to help our corporate clients reach investors on a much larger scale. Now, we already have our services which help companies access investors on the secondary market. Now, this is designed to help them in the exact same capacity on the primary market through the new issuances of securities. Across the 3 geographies, we anticipate the flow of capital to become even easier. And that way, you're not bound by where you are located geographically. You can start to be bound by what your investment preferences are. And that process will only get easier the more successful we are.
And what kind of cross-border activity do you expect to see?
Well, again, based on the last 3 months, we've seen that increase and we expect that to keep going up exponentially over the next 12 months. There are a lot of companies that are purchasing assets offshore and their investor pools are not located in one particular place. And a lot more companies are listing on multiple exchanges now as well. So cross-border activity, I don't think is something that is an option anymore. It's mandatory for companies like ours to be able to offer that sort of facilitation.
And finally, Tim, how can investors or public companies get involved? What's the simplest entry point into the DealRoom ecosystem?
So for investors, the process is extremely simple. Just go to either ADVFN in the UK or Stockhouse or Copper, wherever you are located. Go to the deal room, register your details, and then we'll ask you to submit an investor verification process. Once that's been done, you'll start receiving transactions from us whenever they are available. For public companies and or the brokers that they work with, get in touch with us directly at either Hot Copper, Stockhouse, or ADVFN, and we'll reach out and take you through the process as to how to access that ecosystem of investors.
So, Tim, thank you so much for your insights today.
No, that's okay. Thank you for having me, Ricky, and look forward to speaking again.
The expansion of the deal room marks a big moment for investors who want more transparency, more access, and more global opportunity. And for public companies looking to connect with engaged, experienced investors. Thank you for joining us today and keep an eye out for the full launch coverage across all of our platforms. See you soon.